Used to. Yeah, yeah.
We ready?
I'll like this, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Today is November the 21st of 2023, and this is the Virginia Gas and Oil Board at our regular meeting and in the Department of Energy's building. I would ask everyone to silence their phone. And the first order of business is we've got some folks that's participating remotely, and we have to approve them tuning remotely. The first one was Will Cochran, and he is more than 60 miles away, and he's requested to participate remotely, and I need a motion and a second.
I'll move that we accept his reason for not being here today.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Thank you. The next one is Mr. Prather, Bruce Prather. He's more than 60 miles away, and he's requested approval to participate remotely. I need a motion and a second.
Accept. Great.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Suppose.
Okay.
Thank you. The next one is Mary Quillen. Ms. Quillen has some medical problems that's causing her to stay at home today, and she's still with us. She's going to participate, just needs to do it remotely, and I would ask that we approve her request for remote participation. I need a motion and a second.
I'll move that we approve the request for Mary Quillen.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we're all together again. Now let's let the board introduce themselves, starting with Mr. Jansen.
Gus Jansen, I'm a public member.
I'm Donnie Ratliff, representing Cole and Service Chairman.
I'm Bill Harris, a public member.
I'm Rita Surratt, public member.
I'm Bruce Fraser. I represent the oil and gas industry on the board.
Thank you. Ms. Quillen? Ms. Quillen? I heard her on there earlier. Mr. Cochran?
Yes, I'm Willie Cochran. I'm the Virginia Energy member.
Thank you. Ms. Quillen, you with us? Thank you. And we also have Eric Lansing from the AG's office. Eric, thank you for being with us today.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. And can I introduce Jackson Brown as well? I believe.
No.
Okay.
Yes, please.
That's certainly fine if you'd like to just introduce himself. He has been here before, but in case it has not been mentioned yet, we will be having him as the designated attorney for the Virginia Gas and Oil Board in the pretty near future. I expect around the beginning of this year. In the meanwhile, I'm here to kind of facilitate that transition. I'm here to kind of take the lead today, and then in the future I'll be along as well for a couple of other meetings. But Jackson is our newest Assistant Attorney General in the environmental section, and he is well, I won't speak for him. I was about to say he's pleased to be with you, but I'll let you speak for yourself, Jackson.
Hey, it's great to meet everybody, and yes, happy to be here. I'm really thankful for Eric to help kind of guide this transition process. So, interested to be working with y'all and excited to work with y'all in the future, and kind of learn the ropes from Eric for these next meeting or two. So great to meet y'all, and yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you. Welcome aboard, Jackson. We also like to recognize we have Phil Skarupa with us. He's the director of the Division of Gas and Oil. We got Sarah Gilmer with us today. And we got Bradley Boyd. with us today. The board will approve and the remote attendance, we've already done that. Do we have any public expression? Anyone online or anyone here? When do you want to do the bank?
Number 3.
Be better if I work off the docket instead of the minutes. Okay. At this time, we'd ask First Bank and Trust, our escrow agent, to come forward and present our quarterly report for July through September. Jody?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I assume everybody has the PDF version. We'll start out on page 3. This is a summary of our third quarter report. The beginning balance as of June 30th was $5,130,084.95. For the third quarter, we had royalty and working income deposits, $39,528.91. Interest earned, this is money market and Cedars interest, $25,568.99. Fees paid for the quarter was $5,152.09. Distributions were a little slower for the third quarter. We distributed out $6,123.46. We had a $14.40 adjustment, and that was a voided check from prior months that we needed to adjust in this quarter, leaving us an ending balance for September the 30th at $5,183,921.70. On page 4, the review of 2023. So far this year, we have processed 8 treasury dockets for a total of $2,970.78. We've processed 18 other dockets for a total of $107,925.68. We've issued over 170 checks that range from 7 cents to $28,707.70. Of those 170 checks, 110 of those were issued for less than $100. 30 of those were issued for less than $1. On page 5, these were items that are outstanding as of September the 30th. And this is a long list as usual. These have been issued but not cashed yet. And that goes through page 32. It looks like a lot, but we have $63,000 outstanding. And page 32 is broken down between the gas companies.
Jody, does that list, do you get mail back?
Sometimes we get returned mail, but not all.
That address, or just they don't want it?
Bad addresses normally, but not very often. The gas companies have done a tremendous job with getting correct addresses. So these are people that just have not cashed their checks.
Okay.
On page 33, this is our check escheatment for 2023. So since this was the third quarter, we had not escheated checks yet. And you'll remember 5 years ago, we had dockets that had 1,500 people on those dockets. So we have a lot that's escheatment, a lot of checks issued, but not a total dollar amount that's very high, less than $3,000 to be escheated. Then starting on page 40, this is their balance sheet. This is as of September. So this is only for the month of September. And it lists each account number, each well, their beginning market value, deposits we received for that month, interest, Cedars interest, any fees, distributions. And then we have the ending balance for each individual account.
Excuse me, just a second. Could you
Yeah.
tell us about the color code? I'm scrolling down, but I haven't gotten to that.
It's on the last of the balance.
Yeah, I thought it might be. If I had looked,
So the pinkish colored ones are ones that closed during that month. And the grayish tannish colored ones are working interest accounts.
okay. Thank you very much.
On page 49, this is a list of our no W-9s. These are people that have,
Oh,
oh no,
well, I saw you blinking.
Got a generator.
Just storm. Enters the wrong color. Yep. About the storm.
Let's suspend for 10 minutes and see.
He's still on.
Okay, Eric, are you there?
I sure am.
Okay, we just lost the projector.
Oh,
It's
so
booting
you
back.
can't see us basically.
Well, we didn't know if we had completely lost you or we just lost visual, so
I see.
You're-
Yeah, we can see you just fine. And we can
you're
hear
back. You're coming back. Mr. Prather, are you still on the line?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Cochran?
Yes, sir. Still here.
Okay, Mary Quillen? Still not. Okay, I'm sorry. So you may proceed.
Okay.
I need some excitement.
We're on page 49. This is a list of the no W-9s. These are people that have been issued from the dockets, but they have not submitted a W-9. So all they need to do is submit a W-9 to the gas companies and they will be paid out according to what is on this sheet. And there's a lot of names on the list.
Is this public? On our website?
Yes.
The spreadsheet is.
We have 432 lines on the spreadsheet. So a total of a little over $40,000 that's waiting for people to submit a W-9 to claim that money. On page 60, this is a list of the annual distributions that we have made since First Bank and Trust became the escrow agent in 2010, all the way up to today. So we have royalty and working income, the amount of distributions for the year, and then the net amount. And you'll see in 2016 and 2017, there was a lot of money that was out of the account, and that was the years that we had several dockets that had over 1,000 people on those dockets. Page 61, this is the investment of the funds. So at the end of September, we had over $3 million in the ICS money market account, and then $2 million in various CDs. So the weighted average on the CDs is 5.36, while the money market is at 1%.
And this reflects our most recent changes.
Most recent changes of the investing, the $2 million. And I believe all of those went out for a year, back in July.
Yeah, I see it. Any questions?
On page 62, this is a comparison of the Cedars rates from this meeting to the prior meeting, treasury rates, and the brokered CD rates. And then the final page is a range of CD rates. 3 months, they're running anywhere from 5.25 to 5.35. Months, 5.35 to 5.4. 9 months, 5.3 to 5.45. And then you get out to a year and it's 5.35 to 5.65. And then the 2 years backs back down to 5.05 to 5.25.
Questions from the board? Hearing none, I have a motion to accept the financial report. Right,
I'll make that motion to accept the report.
and we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
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 Those opposed, no. The next item we need to address is the renewal of the contract for the bank. If First Bank and Trust is willing, then we'll ask you guys to speak on that.
So this is the last renewal of our 5-year contract. So yes, we are wanting to renew for 2024.
Then it has to go out for
Goes out for bid 2025.
Right.
Correct.
Any questions?
Is it automatically renewed if you all choose to do so?
I
In
think
other
it
words,
goes out for bid after this
Even if-
or
or after this year,
I think it goes out for bid.
but even for this,
Has to be go out with a new RFP.
but the new one is after this 5th year, is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's right. Okay, yeah. So what's the will of the board?
Well, I certainly have no problem with continuing. I think these folks have done a great job.
Is that a motion, Mr. Harris?
Well, I'll make that a motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of extending the contract for First Bank and Trust Company for another year, please say yes.
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 Those opposed? Jody, you're with us for another year.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You all do a tremendous job. It's a lot of work. You got some very dedicated employees. We appreciate the difference. Okay. Next, we have a petition from Key Rock Energy, establishment of Key Rock number 3 at Seal God Productions, consisting of 401.983 acres for drilling, development, and production from cobain methane from a seal GOPS, sometimes referred to herein as the subject formation, pursuant to the Virginia Code 45.2-1620, which drilling unit is further described as depicted as descriptive Exhibit A and annexed here too. This is docket number VGOB 23-0919-4273. It was continued from the September meeting. All parties interested, please step forward. Introduce yourself.
Yes, sir. Freddie Mullins for Key Rock Energy.
Morgan Pate for Key Rock Energy.
Aaron Davis, Key Rock Energy.
Ms. Gilmore, you want to swear in the witnesses?
Mr. Davis, Mr. Pate, you swear and affirm that your testimony is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You may proceed, Mr. Mullins.
Mr. Pate, could you please state your name
Morgan Pate,
and how are you employed?
geologist at Key Rock Energy.
And Key Rock Energy is authorized to conduct business in the Commonwealth of Virginia, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And there's a bond on file with this department, is that correct?
Yes.
And you're familiar with application or petition number 4273, is that correct?
Yes.
And this is for a coal bed methane well?
Yes, sir.
And the unit is located in the Nora coal bed gas field?
Yes.
And the how many acres does it contain?
401.983.
And can you explain to the board what Key Rock plans to do if this application is granted?
We will permit to drill the well and pull gas off the Seal Gob area, deep mine 41, and flare that gas to generate environmental credits and to make the mine safer.
And there's a particular seam that this coal bed methane would be produced from, is that correct?
Yes, the job on seems.
All right. And has Key Rock obtained leases for a portion of this unit?
Yes,
And have those leases been obtained from Intervest and its various subsidiaries?
yes.
And how is Intervest informed of this proceeding?
Certified mail, return receipt requested.
And that documentation has been filed with the board, is that correct?
Yes.
And is there, what percentage of the unit does Key Rock Energy have under lease as a result of its dealings with Intervest?
Approximately 80%.
And how much is not under lease?
The remaining approximate 20%.
And a portion of that unleased portion, those owners are unknown, is that correct?
Correct.
And how much percentage is that?
14.3.
And how are these unknown unleased owners for this proceeding?
Notice of publication in the Dickinson Star.
Now, we have some known leased owners as well, is that correct?
Yes,
And that would be the Rowlett Tract.
correct.
And how were those gentlemen informed?
Registered mail and in person.
Okay. And have you filed all documentation relating to that with the board?
Yes,
And what percentage of the unit are you seeking to pool today?
100%.
And are you requesting that the board pool the interest of everyone listed on Exhibit B in this application?
Sir.
And are you requesting that the board establish a procedure where all parties listed on Exhibit B3 have the right to elect?
Yes,
And those would be three different options, is that correct? And what lease terms would you be offering any of these owners that voluntarily commit?
the terms identical to Intervest, 12.5% royalty. The exact same.
And what's the proposed depth of this well?
1,170 feet,
And what are the estimated reserves?
175 MMCF.
And you're familiar with the projected costs of this well, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you prepared the AFE filed with this application?
Yes,
And what's the estimated dry hole cost?
approximately $262,000.
And are you asking the board to create a sealed gob drilling unit to further pool that unit?
Yes,
And a portion of this pooling would be voluntary. That would be the Intervest portion, correct?
correct,
And a portion would be involuntary.
correct.
And as far as the escrow, you're asking for escrow for these unknown parties.
Correct. Yes.
And are you asking the board to name Key Rock Energy as the operator for this?
Yes, sir.
And in your opinion, if the board grants our application today, would it prevent waste, promote conservation, and protect correlative rights?
Yes.
That would be our evidence, Mr. Chair.
Any questions from the board? Hearing none.
There was a little concern, when this really came up on the P54C well. That actually finished the job out. I believe you could go back. Could you handle that a little bit?
Yes, I believe that well is already plugged. We entered into an agreement, with Intervest to assist in the plugging operations of that well.
Mr. Mullins, you may proceed.
And that would be all the evidence that we have, Mr. Chair, in regards to docket number 4273.
Any questions from the board?
Mr. Chair, I understand you're soliciting questions from the board, and I'm not a member of the board, but just want to flag something under paragraph 14.1 of the draft order, which lists First Bank and Trust as the escrow agent for unknown or unlocatable persons. I understand it's been the board's practice for unknown or unlocatable persons to list the Department of Treasury as the escrow agent. Just consistent with that practice, it's certainly not wrong to list exactly the escrow agent that was done, but consistent with practice, you may want to just approve this draft order with that revision, adding the Department of Treasury Division of Unclaimed Property instead.
And Mr. Chair, I think you may be looking at an old version of the proposed order. That's actually in the version that's currently in front of the board. The escrow agent is listed as the Department of Treasury.
Okay, great.
Okay. Anything further? Hearing none. Board operates on a motion.
I'll make a motion for approval.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. We have any discussion? Ms. Gilmore, will you poll the board, please?
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff,
I abstain.
Mr. Jansen,
Yes.
Mr. Cochran,
yes,
Mr. Prather,
yes,
That docket item is approved as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Next, we'll have a petition from Key Rock Energy for a well location exception pursuant to code 45.2-16.16. This is a well near Contour Deep Mine 41. It's docket number VGOB 23-0919-4274. This also was continued from September, and we would ask all parties interested, please step forward.
Freddie Bones for Key Rock Energy, Mr. Chair.
You may proceed.
All right, Mr. Pate, can you please state your name for the board, please?
More faint.
And you are employed by Key Rock Energy as a geologist, is that correct?
Yes.
And Key Rock is authorized to do business in the Commonwealth of Virginia?
Yes, sir.
And Key Rock has a bond on file with this department, is that correct?
Yes.
And you are familiar with this application, this docket 4274, is that correct?
Yes.
And this involves a well location exception for a coal bed methane well?
Correct.
And is this unit located in the Nora coal bed gas field?
Yes.
And how many acres does this unit contain?
401.983 acres.
And Key Rock has obtained leases for a portion of this unit, is that correct?
Yes.
And have those been obtained from Intervest?
Yes, sir.
And can you explain to the board what Key Rock plans to do if this application is granted?
We will drill a well into the jawbone seam into the active mine, Deep Mine 41, and produce gas and generate carbon credits.
And how were the different parties named informed of this proceeding? We have some known and some unknown.
Registered mail or certified mail and Dickinson Star publication.
And has that documentation been filed with the board?
Yes.
And what percentage of the unit does Key Rock Energy have under lease as a result of its dealings with Intervest?
80.12%.
And so the balance Key Rock does not have under lease?
Is approximately 20%.
And what percentage of that 20%, approximately 20%, are unknown?
14.32.
And you said these unknown unleased owners were informed by order of publication in the Dickinson Star?
Yes, sir.
All right. And previously, Key Rock has sought to pool 100% of this unit today, correct?
Yes.
And what is the proposed depth of the well
1,170 feet,
and the estimated reserves?
475 MMCF.
And what is the estimated dry hole cost of this well?
Approximately 262,000.
All right. And previously you said that well P454C has been plugged. Is that correct?
I believe so.
All right. And so the proposed well location would also be 858 feet from well number VC 503042.
Yes.
And you're requesting that this board enter an order enabling Key Rock number 3 to be drilled as depicted on the exhibit K with the application?
Yes, sir.
And is the proposed revised well location necessary to effectively and efficiently drain a portion of the common sources of supply underlying the unit, the 401.3 acre unit?
Yes.
And is it your opinion that it cannot be adequately and efficiently drained without an exception to the distance limitations and spacing rules?
Yes.
And that would be our evidence, Mr. Chair.
Any questions from the board? Anything further, Mr. Ball?
No, sir.
Board acts on a motion.
I'll make a motion for approval.
We have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Ms. Gilmore, will you poll the board, please?
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff,
Abstain.
Mr. Jansen,
Yes.
Mr. Prather,
yes,
and Mr. Cochran.
yes,
Mr. Mullin, that petition is approved as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the board, particularly Mr. Jansen, who was kind enough to talk to me about my proposed order. And also to Sarah and Brad, we were working as late as 5 o'clock yesterday evening to try to get this ready. So thank you to everyone.
Hey, Rob, hope you all have a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you. You all too.
Thank you. But before you guys leave, let's talk about December's docket
Yes, sir.
while you're here. Got one item on the docket. We've got some conflicts. So we were gonna see if you would prefer us to move it back a week or move it to January. What are you most comfortable with?
It's the honey camp.
It is.
This is for the December meeting,
For the December meeting,
and the option is to
move it back a week. Got some folks that's going to not be here, or move it to the January meeting.
Do you know what would be the revised date if we moved it back a week?
It's the 11th, I think.
December the 11th?
Well,
I'm fine with that. I think we would probably rather move it back a week than push it to January.
Mr. Chair, not to be disagreeable, but I'm in Roanoke that day. I'm not available on the 12th.
we don't think.
They may not. They may do better without me.
Okay. Now, what's your? I think you do need Mr. Moses.
Thank you. I know it's not your regular day. I'm available either the 11th or the 14th. Whichever would suit everyone's schedule better. I know we don't like moving things around.
I don't think I can make the 11th.
I can't even.
Yeah, that's when I'm pretty busy here on the
Yeah.
14th. It's the annual Christmas event for
Well,
Virginia.
BC's board meetings that day also, so
What is,
BC's board meets that second Thursday.
That's however you all want to do it. But I know I won't. There's no way I can be here at 12.
It's gonna be a hard one too.
Yeah.
Want to move it to January?
Afraid to say that to my boss.
Well, you can always blame me.
We need to write down who said that.
I'm sorry. I'm retired. What are you gonna do?
We were also hoping to move to the January board, the Deep Mine 26 slope area that we had received a letter on. We have that nearly completed, but in the process, we found the 5-acre tract inside that unit that we just finished title on. So we were hoping to have that submitted for the January.
What day do we need to have submission by for January?
You know what day the meeting is in January? It's a date.
January 16th.
I'm fine working with whoever.
Okay, I'll leave that up to you all.
That's gonna be a tricky one. I would still like to have it in December if possible.
Okay. We move it back to the 12th. All right. Anything further?
And the day for submission for January is 22nd. 22nd of December.
It's December 15th. I told you wrong.
Okay.
I need to ask the board before we do this. We move it from the 19th to the 12th. Do any of the board members have conflict that you can't be here on the 12th?
I'd have to call in probably.
Mr. Prather?
I have no problems.
Mr. Cochran?
I'm supposed to be, in meetings on the 12th. I don't know that'd be a discussion with Phil. Of course, now if I could remote in, I could probably do it, but if I had to be in person, I may have to work some things around.
It's our quarterly staff meeting in Charleston.
You'll be gone too.
I'll be gone too. 11, 12, 10, and 13. Possibility I may have to call in too, so I don't know that. You may not have 4 here. That'd be the
Yeah,
problem.
now I'll be available on the 12th, but I'll be gone after that.
I have a motion, we cancel the December meeting and move everything to the January docket. Move motion.
I guess I'll make that motion since we,
I'm not sure we're gonna have a quorum.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't sound like, and the staff's not gonna be here.
yeah, I'll move that we move the December meeting to January.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Gilmore, you poll the board.
Mrs. Payne,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff,
Yes.
Mr. Benson,
Yes.
Mr. Prather,
Yes,
Mr. Cochran.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, guys. We thought we moved it back. We were okay, but we don't have a quorum. We don't have a quorum.
I hope all of you have a good Christmas then.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So are we then for January 16th? Is that the normal date?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Schwartz, a petition for Pocahontas Gas LLC for disbursement of escrow funds hereto deposit in the board's escrow agent attributable to tracks 3, 5, 6, 6A, and 7. This is docket number VGOB 95-1024-0526. I ask all parties interested to please come forward. We have another unit, docket number 2. Let me read that into the record. It's VGOB 92-0721-0234-02. All parties interested, please step forward.
Mark Schwartz and Kelly Berry. Good morning.
Good morning. We need to swear Kelly in.
Yes. You swear and affirm that your testimony is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You may proceed, Mr. Schwartz.
Thank you. Kelly, could you state your name for us, please?
Kelly Berry,
Who do you work for?
Pocahontas Gas LLC.
And are you present this morning on behalf of Pocahontas Gas with regard to a disbursement petition pertaining to Unit Y20?
Yes.
And what tracks are we talking about in terms of this disbursement?
We are requesting to disperse tracks 3, 5, 6, 6A, and 7.
Okay, and what did you do to notify people who might be interested in this disbursement that we were going to have a hearing today?
We mailed a copy of the petition by registered mail, return receipt requested.
And when did you do that?
Good question. I'm sorry. I believe we did it on October 26th.
Okay, and did we have an updated address that you have subsequently filed with the board?
Yes, we received correspondence from Chisos Ltd, who is a party being requested to be paid, that they have an updated address, and they provided us with the documentation for that updated address.
Okay, and Chisos is spelled CHISOS, correct?
That's correct.
And have you filed an updated Exhibit EE and updated your Table 1 to reflect that address?
We will ask for Ms. Gilmer to set the petition back to us to be able to upload those documents after the hearing is over.
Okay, so you're gonna fix those addresses so that Table 1 is accurate and Exhibit EE is accurate once we have the hearing.
Yes.
Okay, and at page 2 of the PDF that the board members have, there's a section, it's actually section 5, which is at the bottom of page 1, a factual basis for the relief requested. I thought we'd just review that for a moment. With regard to track 3, Pocahontas Gas is a gas claimant, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and with regard to the company Chisos that we've talked about, there's a royalty split agreement pertaining to Pocahontas Gas and Chisos and Rockport Oil and Gas LLC.
That is correct.
Okay, and is that a 50-50 agreement?
Yes, it is.
And then with regard to the requirement that we notify coal owners or conflicting claimants, which in this case would be coal owners, have you done that?
Yes.
Okay, and did any of them respond to the notice and provide documentation to support a claim?
No.
And then lastly, have you provided within your application, we'll get to that eventually, a detailed accounting with regard to payments, with regard to disbursements, and balance calculations to be considered by the board?
Yes.
And then in the event that in the event that this application for disbursement is approved, are you requesting that the operator, Pocahontas Gas, be allowed to pay the people listed in all of the people listed in Exhibit EE directly rather than escrowing those funds?
No, just because this is an inactive unit and the royalty for this unit is currently being paid under VP8 Sealed Gob Unit 1.
Sorry, right. So what happens in the event of this disbursement is the escrow account gets closed.
That's correct.
And further production with regard to this, with regard to the people in this unit is going to be under a sealed gob order that's already paying, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Basically this unit as a production unit goes away and the escrow account goes away if this petition is approved.
Yes.
Okay. Have you provided a Table 1?
Yes.
Okay, and for reference, I think it's page 6 of the PDF that the board has. And sometimes we have percentage disperse or tables, and sometimes we have dollar amount tables. Is this a percentage table?
Yes, it is.
And have you provided in Table 1 the name of everyone that we propose receive a disbursement here?
Yes.
And except for Chisos on the exhibit that the board currently has, have you provided what you believe to be the correct address for everybody?
Yes, and the address for Chisos will be updated after the hearing today.
Okay. And when the escrow agent, assuming this is approved, goes to cut the checks, what they should do is take the percentage in the second to last column and multiply that times the balance on hand at the time the disbursement is being made, and that'll generate the correct dollar amount. Is that true?
That is correct.
And that, although there aren't current royalty payments currently going into this account, that there might be some interest accruing, and so that's why we need to await the date on which the disbursement is made.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then you submitted a revised Exhibit E, which is the escrow exhibit. That's actually page 7, following Table 1. And you've indicated there that if these disbursements are approved, the escrow account will no longer be required. Is that true?
That's correct.
Okay. And you provided an exhibit EE, which is kind of the path forward, consistent with table 1, and your prior payment history, and except for the Chisos address, that's correct.
That's correct.
And then going to your accounting, which is PDF page 13. Do you have that in front of you, Kelly?
Yes.
Okay. And the point of, well, let me start back a little further. Did you attempt to locate documentation regarding all of the deposits that the operator has made?
Yes.
And then did you compare those deposits to the dates and amounts to the bank records?
That is correct.
Okay. And in some instances, you found differences, but you were able to come up with an answer as to why it appeared to be different.
Yes.
Okay. For example, on PDF page 13, there are some darker boxes or cells around entries in the third column and the fifth column from the left. And let's take, for example, November 25th, 1993, you've got $40.25, and you got $32.49. And then if you come across to the bank's records, you got one deposit of $72.74, right?
That's correct.
And it basically, you concluded that there was not a problem there because if you add the amounts, the checks to the amount of the deposit, come up with the same number.
That's right.
Okay, so for instances or differences where that you were able to account for those, you put them in brackets, and then you've got stuff in yellow, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you've got a couple of yellow entries in the third column immediately, and then a yellow entry in the fifth column from the left, March 31st, 1993. And those yellow highlights are things that you were not able to account for.
That's correct. We were not able to reconcile our records with those of the bank.
And in some instances, I think we could guess, for example, if you look at 10/25/1994, you've got 4649 versus 3649. And we could guess that maybe somebody put in a 3 instead of a 4. Right?
Possibly.
But we don't know. Okay.
Yes.
But once we get past page 13, we do not appear to have problems for many years, actually. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
And then we get down to, you always do a calculation to try to compare the first bank balance to a balance the calculation that you make. And you've reported there that you see a difference of what amount?
$176.58.
That your total is slightly in excess of First Bank by that amount.
Yes.
Previously discussed, or you previously indicated that this unit is currently paying under VPH Seal Gov 1, and you've given us the docket number.
That's correct.
And I think if we go, let's see. And then at the very end of this document, this petition, you've included copies of the split agreements or other agreements that result in or approve a split. And you've also given proof with regard to your prior mailings to the coal owners, a supplemental affidavit of mailing with regard to those owners. And you've given an example of the letter that you sent out, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Mr. Chairman, I think that's it with regard to this disbursement request.
Thank you. Any questions from any member of the board? I have on the chart.
Okay,
What page is that?
I think I'll tell you in a
On the,
moment.
this,
It's page
disbursement.
6.
The
Page 6.
disbursement. And I know it's only good for that day, but could we have the date certain that those calculations was run? It's based on percentages and we all realize that, but we've actually got numbers there. And
Right.
I think somewhere on there, we need that disclaimer in case somebody picks this up and says, well, you owe me this many dollars. If we had a date certain that was run, and it should be pretty simple to do, but
That table is generated by eForms, so there would need to be a modification on the end of Virginia Department of Energy to be able to add in the date that those funds are accurate as of.
that sounds a little more complicated than just sticking a number in there.
Well, my guess though, Kelly and Sarah's there as well. Are you working off of, let me look here.
The last date on the Exhibit J, which is 7/31/2023, that
Right.
is that's the last date that was available as far as escrow balances in eForms. So that would be the date that these percentages and dollar amounts are accurate as of.
Okay.
If you look at page 19, Mr. Chairman, at the bottom there, it gives a balance as of July 2023 First Bank statement, and it gives that balance. And Kelly, is it that balance that you use to apply the percentages to generate the dollar amounts in table 1? You think?
That's correct, because
Okay.
at the time that I filed this petition, that was the most current escrow account information available from the bank.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Since then, First Bank and Trusts recently have sent in the new spreadsheets. So we have the spreadsheets through October now, but when Kelly submitted it, they weren't available to her.
Okay.
So we just recently got them. So everything's updated now, but
Okay.
should be okay.
All right. Any other questions? Anything further, Mr. Schwartz?
Not on this one.
That doesn't sound good. Board operates on a motion.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Gilmore, will you poll the board, please?
Mrs. Surratt,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff,
Yes.
Mr. Jansen,
Yes.
Mr. Prather,
Yes.
Mr. Cochran.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Schwartz, that one's approved as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next, we have docket item number 7, petition from Pocahontas Gas LLC for the disbursements of escrow fund deposited in the board's escrow agent attributable to track 2 and a portion of track 13. This is docket number VGOB 99-0518-0720-02. All parties interested, please come forward.
Mark Schwartz and Kelly Berry.
You may proceed, Mr. Schwartz.
Thank you, sir. Kelly, I'm going to remind you, you're under oath, okay?
Yes.
And I'm going to ask you to tell us your name again.
Kelly Berry.
And are you appearing, do you work for and are you appearing on behalf of Pocahontas Gas LLC with regard to a petition for disbursement pertaining to Unit V as in Victor 47?
Yes.
And what tracts does this petition pertain to?
We are requesting disbursement for all the remainder in escrow of track 2 and a portion of track 13.
Okay, and in this situation, though, since there's a little bit, let me close the window here. And in this instance, we're not closing the escrow account. There's still going to be a little bit of the unit percentage wise and acreage wise in escrow, correct?
That's correct.
And
That's what she is, same.
And in this instance, we're also requesting an authorization to pay directly to the people that are exiting the escrow account at this point and to dismiss some co-owners. Is that correct?
Yes.
And like in the prior docket item that we just talked about, at page 2 of your application, page 2 of the PDF, you set forth the reasons why you are in front of the board today asking for disbursements. Reason A is there's some royalty split agreements, correct?
Yes.
And the second reason is we have some gas claimants under the law, and we've noticed the co-owners are conflicting claimants, and they have not provided written proof of valid claims, so the gas claimants prevail under the law. You've also indicated that the board has already dismissed co-owners. That's section C on page 2. But is that a fair summary of why we're in front of the board today?
Yes.
Okay. And then once again, have you provided another table 1 here?
Yes.
Okay. And table 1 is at PDF pages 8 and 9. And once again, I ask if this is a percentage table or a dollar certain table.
A percentage table.
Okay. And once again, then when the escrow agent, if this is approved, when the escrow agent goes to cut the checks to the various owners, should the escrow agent use the percentage in the second column from the right-hand side of the table, and multiply that percentage times the then balance on hand, and then that will result in the correct royalty number. Is that what the escrow agent should do?
Yes.
Okay. And have you provided the name of every proposed recipient of the distribution on table 1?
Yes.
And to the best of your knowledge, have you provided a correct address for those people?
Yes.
And what did you do to let these folks know we were going to have a hearing today?
We mailed a copy of the petition by certified mail with return receipt requested.
Okay. And then at the bottom of table 1, you've provided, as is customary, the source of the production, the wells that contributed to the escrow account, right?
Yes.
And then in the event this is approved, obviously the people in escrow are going to change. So you've provided a revised exhibit E, which starts at PDF page 10, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it continues for some time.
Yes, it does.
Fine.
Goes through page 24.
Yeah, and let's go to page 24 for a moment, just to kind of summarize the progress that you all have made in terms of reducing the number of people in the acres in escrow. What is, in the event that this petition is approved, what is the total acreage that's going to be in conflict or in escrow?
0.9038.
So less than an acre.
Yes.
And as a percentage of the unit, what percent would that be?
1.1298%.
And then also, if the application or petition is approved, we're going to be changing the people that we are able to pay directly. So have you provided, starting at page 25, PDF page 25, a revised exhibit EE, which is the payment plan going forward?
Yes.
Down to, I think, exhibit J, which starts at page 59 of the PDF. We just spoke about what you do to prepare this in the prior in your prior testimony on the previous case, but in essence, what you do is you accumulate the deposit. You accumulate the checks that the operator has paid, and you compare the checks paid to the deposits made, and you look for differences, right?
That's correct.
And we've got a deposit on September 30th, 2001, it looks like, which does not relate to a check that was issued. So we have no idea what happened there, right?
Right.
Okay. And then as we go down, when we get to PDF page 60, you have some differences, but they're bracketed in darker brackets, and you satisfy yourself that you can account for the checks and the deposits, and they match.
Yes.
Okay. And we get following pages. I don't see any differences that you've noted. And then at PDF page 64, you have again done your own calculation to back into a balance, and you've compared your calculation to the First Bank and Trust balance, and you got a difference, right?
Yes.
And what's the amount of the difference?
The bank balance is $69.81 more.
More than you come up with, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
then as we work through the rest of the petition here, you provided the board with copies of the royalty split agreements. For example, at page 66, you've got in paragraph 1 an indication that it's a 50% interest. And I think as we go through here, you've also got your supplemental affidavit of mailing with regard to co-owners, giving them an opportunity to file written proof or arguments with the board and the operator, indicating that they have a claim. And you've previously testified you did that, and nobody has responded with proof or documentation. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I think that this is everything with regard to docket item 7.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Any questions from members of the board? Hearing none, anything further, Mr. Schwartz?
That would do it.
Board operates on a motion.
I'll offer a motion for approval.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
We have a motion, let's have a second. Any discussion? Ms. Gilmore, will you poll the board, please?
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff,
Abstain.
Mr. Jansen,
Yes.
Mr. Prather,
Yes.
Mr. Coffee.
Yes.
Mr. Schwartz, that one is approved as presented. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope all of you have a great Thanksgiving holiday, and apparently I need to wish you Merry Christmas as well. So talk to you after the new year.
Thank you. You too. We appreciate
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
We need a break. Harris,
Oh, I'm okay.
Rita? You good? We'll just continue. Item number 8, a petition from Intervest Operations Operating LLC for a well location exception located in the Pound Quadrangle. Docket numbers VGOB 23-1121-4275. All parties interested, please come forward.
Tim Scott and Larry Reeves for Intervest Operating LLC.
We have a bad echo.
We do.
Mute your computer, Tim.
Do that.
Okay, and who you have with you?
Larry Reeves.
Mr. Gilmer, you want to swear Mr. Reed in?
Mr. Reeves, you swear and affirm that your testimony is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Is that the only witness you have, Mr. Scott?
Sir? Yes,
Is
sir.
that the only witness you have?
Yes, sir, it is.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Reeves, please state your name, by whom you're employed, and your job description.
Larry Reeves, employed by Intervest Operating as a landman.
And you participated with the preparation of this application, is that correct?
Yes.
And we've, with our application, we filed an Exhibit B, which lists the mineral owners underlying this particular unit. Is that correct?
Yes, we did.
And those are all the mineral owners who have an interest in this unit. Is that also correct?
Yeah.
And who operates the well from which this well location is sought?
Intervest also.
And then we did notify the parties listed on Exhibit B. Is that correct?
Yes, we did.
And how was that accomplished?
Certified mail with return receipt requested.
And we provided proof of our mailing to the board. Is that correct?
We did.
Okay. And then with regard to why this particular location was chosen by Intervest, can you explain to the board why that happened?
Due to the state roads, all the development in this area, the homes, several cemeteries, we ended up pulling it back just shy of the state spacing.
So so there's not too much of an overlap, is there?
No.
So what would be the number of acres that would be lost in the event that this application is not approved today?
109.66 acres.
So just shy of the 112. What's the proposed depth of this well?
6,325 feet.
And what are the potential loss of reserves if the application is not granted today?
106 or 1,006 MMCF. Sorry.
And then if the application is approved by the board today, would it prevent waste, promote conservation, and protect relative rights?
Yes.
That's all I have for Mr. Reeves.
He said that was all he had.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear
Yes,
you,
sir.
Mr. Scott.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's all I have for
You're
Mr. Reeves.
You have anything further for the board?
Not on this docket item, no, sir.
Any questions from the board? This board operates on a motion.
Motion for approval
Do I have
of
a
the
second?
application.
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, that's okay. I just said of the
Motion.
application.
Of a motion, and we have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Gilmore, will you poll the board, please?
Mrs. Serta, Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff, Mr. Jansen,
Yes.
Mr. Prather,
Yes.
and Mr. Cochran.
Yes.
That one is approved as presented, Mr. Scott. Next, we have docket number 9, a petition from Intervest Operating LLC for pooling unit V-630607, docket numbers VGOB 23-1121-4276. All interested parties, please come forward. You may begin,
Again,
Mr. Scott.
Tim Scott and Larry Reeves for Intervest.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Reeves, again, your name, by whom you're employed, your job description.
Larry Reeves, employed by Intervest Operating as a landman.
In this particular application, we're seeking to establish a unit and force pool the individuals listed on Exhibit B3. Is that correct?
Yes, we are.
And is this unit subject to statewide spacing?
Yes.
And how many acres does it contain?
112.69 acres.
Now, as far as the parties listed on Exhibit B3, we have provided revised exhibits because our leasing efforts are ongoing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, how was the notice of this hearing provided to the parties listed on Exhibit B3?
Notice was sent by certified mail with the return receipt requested.
And we provided the proof of our mailing to the board. Is that correct?
Yes, we have.
Now, do we have any unknown owners in this unit?
No, no unknowns.
Okay. Intervest is authorized to transact business in the Commonwealth, correct?
They are.
And there's a blanket bond on file with the department?
Yes, there is.
And if you were able to reach an agreement with the parties listed on Exhibit B3, what would be the terms you would offer for an oil and gas lease for this acreage?
1/8 royalty, $5 an acre per year for a paid up lease.
And, what does since the unit is Intervest presently have under lease?
30.88%.
And what percentage of the unit are you seeking to pool?
69.12%.
And for the board's information, we have a similar situation that we've had in previous pooling applications where there's an issue between diversified production and several of the royalty owners as to whether or not this their interest is under lease. So we list them as unleased and force pool them accordingly. Now, with regard to this unit, we do have an escrow requirement, as I just indicated. Is that right?
Yes.
And what percentage of the unit and what tract is involved in that?
Be track 9, consisting of 27.11% of the unit.
And those conflicts are shown on our application. Is that correct?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Are you requesting the board then to pool the unleased parties listed on Exhibit B3?
Yes.
And that Intervest be named the operator for this unit?
Yes.
And if elections are made under any order granted by the board, what would be the address used for making any elections?
Intervest Operating LLC, 408 West Main Street, Abingdon, Virginia, 24210. Attention, Kevin Miller, Vice President, Land.
And that would be the address for all communications regarding an order entered by this board. Is that correct?
Yes, it would.
And in addition to the land aspects of this unit, are you also familiar with the proposed depth of this well?
Yes.
And what would that be?
6,325 feet.
And what are the estimated reserves for this unit?
1,006 MMCF.
And okay, thank you. And you familiar with the proposed well cost as well?
Yes.
What's the estimated dry hole cost?
$453,630.
An estimated completed well cost?
$973,372.
And in your opinion, if the board grants our application today, again, would it prevent waste, promote conservation, and protect relative rights?
Yes.
That's all I have for Mr. Reeves on this one.
Thank you. Anything further, Scott?
That's all I have on this one, Mr. Chairman.
Questions from the board? Being none, the board operates on a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
And those motions are to approve the petition that's presented.
Correct.
Yes.
Any discussion? Ms. Gilmore, will you poll the board, please?
Mrs. Surratt,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff,
I abstain.
Mr. Jansen,
Yes.
Mr. Prather,
Yes.
Mr. Cochran.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. That one is approved as presented.
Thank you, Mr.
Next, we
Chairman.
have docket item number 10, a petition from Intervest Operating LLC for pooling unit VCI-530583, docket numbers VGOV 23-1121-4278. All parties interested, please come forward.
Tim Scott and Larry Reeves for Intervest Operating LLC.
Thank you. You may proceed, Mr. Scott.
Thank you. Mr. Reeves, one more time, your name, by whom you're employed, and your job description.
Larry Reeves, employed by Intervest Operating as a landman.
And you're familiar with this application, is that correct?
Yes, I
And is this unit located in the Noricoba gas field?
am. It is.
How many acres does this contain?
58.77.
Now, based on our exhibits to the application, there's a substantial number of acres in this unit under lease to Intervest presently. Is that correct?
Yes, there is.
Are we going to dismiss any parties respondent from this application today?
No.
And how was, I think we just have one party respondent, is that correct?
Yes.
And how was he notified of this hearing?
He was notified by certified mail with return receipt requested.
We provided the proof of the mailing to the board, is that correct?
We did.
Do we have an escrow requirement for this unit?
No escrow.
And again, Intervest is authorized to transact business in the Commonwealth, correct?
Yes.
And we do have a blanket bond on file.
Yes, we do.
And if you're able to reach an agreement with the gentleman listed on Exhibit B3, what would be the terms that you would offer for a lease in this area?
$5 an acre per, $5 per acre per year for a 1/8 paid up lease.
And that's reasonable compensation for a lease in this area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What percentage of the unit do you have under lease presently?
97.98593351%.
And there is some portion of that acreage that Intervest owns in fee simple, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what percentage of the unit are you seeking to pool today?
Pooling 2.01406649%.
You're asking that Intervest be named the operator for this unit?
Yes.
And if the board grants our application today, what would be the address used by the gentleman listed on Exhibit B3 if he makes an election under an order entered by the board?
Intervest Operating LLC, 408 West Main Street, Abingdon, Virginia, 24210. Attention, Kevin Miller, Vice President Land.
And that would be the address for all communications?
Yes, it would.
Okay. And with regard to the operational aspects of this unit, are you familiar with the proposed depth of this unit?
The depth is 2,300 feet,
And what are the estimated reserves?
700 MMCF.
Are you also familiar with the well cost?
Yes.
And what's the estimated dry hole cost?
Let her out.
Dry hole is $217,322.
And the estimated completed well cost?
Completed is $613,840.
And so in your opinion, if the board grants our application today, it would promote conservation, prevent waste, and protect correlative rights. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That's all I have for Mr. Reeves on this docket item.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. Any questions from the board? Hearing none. Anything further, Mr. Scott?
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
The board operates on a motion.
Motion for approval.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Gilmore, will you poll the board, please?
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Ratliff,
I abstain.
Mr. Jansen,
Yes.
Mr. Prather,
Yes.
and Mr. Cochran.
Yes.
That one is approved as presented, Mr. Scott. Thank you for all your
Thank you,
work.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Same to you.
I don't know if you were on earlier, but we will not have a December meeting.
We were present. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank
Maybe
you.
January the 16th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. The board will now receive an update from the staff.
God bless yourself. Kevin.
That's important.
It is.
I don't have to abstain on that. Thank
Well,
you.
just
for all-
thank everyone for their participation. I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving, good safe holidays. So appreciate everybody enjoying the holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
We'll,
you.
we'll now review the September 23 minutes that Ms. Gilmer provided. And do I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion for approval of the minutes.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor?
Yes.
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 Thank you. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.